Good morning.
Good morning.
We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
So you bring your beautiful physical selves here, and you bring your non-physical contingency too. Many more of us than of you. You are aware. You know who you are. Teachers to the core of your being, yes? A concentrated cluster of powerfully focused creators who are pointed toward helping others help themselves. That is the most important premise to begin with, yes? Because everything is vibrational. And so your power as healers is in your power of persuasion, power of persuading those with whom you're interacting of their power. Anything else is a band-aid and is temporary. It's like plugging the dike with oatmeal, which will wash away easily. So another plug and another plug and another plug and another plug until you're out of oatmeal. Where when you get to the heart, the reason, the cause for the telephone ringing, when you get to the heart or the cause of the vibrational imbalance, which is the heart or the cause of anything that is going wrong, now you have affected the situation in a way that is controlled. And it is empowerment or control and an understanding of that is necessary before anyone can help themselves. Some of you have witnessed, maybe not firsthand, but through your media, through your televisions, the situation in the South, primarily New Orleans, where what you are witnessing is not what so many are claiming, a failure of government, but instead a misplacement of the understanding of the power or of the ability of government. It's not that they are so inept, while everyone agrees they could have been more organized. It is that government, in that case and in many cases, attempts the impossible, as it presumes to be able to take care of the masses in a way that the masses must learn to take care of themselves. There were hundreds of thousands of people, maybe millions of people, who, because of their awareness of the weakness of the levees in New Orleans, chose to live somewhere where they would not be affected by them. And there were other hundreds of thousands of people who, when they realized that the storm was coming, even though they liked the higher adventure of living in an area that is below sea level, still, when they heard about the storm coming and the possibility of what might happen, they, with relative ease, packed their family and belongings and left the city. They've had more fun on vacations, but it was not a terrible situation for them. And then there were those who appreciate even higher adventure, who stuck around longer and waited until almost the last minute, who left en masse and had an uncomfortable evacuation. It took them hours to travel what should have taken them much less time. And then there were those who live even higher adventure, who did not leave, who believed what the government has told them. We have a place of last resort that you can go to. And then there are those still there who are still waiting for someone to come and help them out. And there are those still there who have no intention of ever leaving, who will really experience the high drama of being removed at gunpoint as the shootout at the OK Corral resumes. So what we're getting at here is you, and you know it more than any body of people that we will ever address. You know, as you deal with the population who surround you, that they're not all the same in their vibrational offering. The balance between what they want and what they expect is a huge variable. And it is that balance between what they want and what they expect that equals their well-being or lack of well-being. So as a body of those like you who are healers, helpers, counselors, uplifters, teachers to the core of your being, as you approach the masses and you attempt to find a philosophy or a process which will across the board be effective for all. You can't do it. You cannot create a vaccine or a surgery. You can't create a way of lifestyle or a way of eating. You can't get those people, some of them, to leave New Orleans, even though it is apparent that it is not a pleasant place to be, and yet some of them still choose that over what they perceive to be the alternative. So when you come together as an individual dealing with another who has even come and asking for your help, your most important function must be an assessing of that vibrational range between what they want and what they expect, because what's coming to them, even what they will hear from you, even their ability to make their way to you, is all contingent upon the balance of their vibration. And so if we were standing in your physical shoes, our first order of business would be to become someone who is relatively good at, comfortable with, reading the energy of those that you're interacting with. You've got to get the vibe of them. You know from your personal interaction that someone could have a state of physical decline who does not have a passionate desire for improvement. And there isn't about anything that you can do that would make any great difference in the outcome of their experience, because they're just not queued up for improvement vibrationally. There are some who have had extraordinary circumstances happen with them where they are living something very much not wanted. We're talking physically, mentally, physically. Something's happening with their body. Who have been raised in such an environment of negative expectation that even though their situation has ramped their desire up to a very powerful place, so they are summoning healing energy from source in a very strong way. Their day-to-day beating of the drum that they've been doing for 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, 60, 70 or 80, 90 years prevents them from allowing the alignment of their energies. And when you interact with them, you take a beating yourself because you can feel the intensity of their desire and the futility of your efforts, because you're patching the dike with oatmeal and it just doesn't hold very long. And then over time, as a medical profession or as a healing arts profession or as a wanting to uplift the planet teacher, you lose your enthusiasm for the whole thing, because there are so many people that you want so much to help who seem not helped. And then as a body, as individuals who collectively come together, you conjure the most incredible concoctions and methodologies in order to find one more way of plugging the dike, only to discover that the waters are raising and it's more powerful than you can deal with. And then you count yourselves among the ineffective. And we say you are not ineffective. You may just be going about it in the wrong way. If you are going about helping others in any way other than beginning with the premise that it is all vibrational and that they are offering vibrations and that they are offering vibrations about what they now want because of what they're living, and they are offering vibrations about what they believe about that what they want that they have been carrying around for a long time. And if you can't find some way of interacting with them in a way that you give them mental and emotional relief about where they are right now, then you cannot help them at all. So we see your first order of business. Esther is watching the television, watching what's happening with the relief effort in New Orleans, and saying to us, Abraham, I'm going to take my bus and I'm going to go. And with a bullhorn, I'm going to organize this bunch. And we said they're at 40,000 feet. They've jumped out of an airplane with no parachute. And they are saying, what do we do now? And we say, sometimes you have to accept that the momentum is such, and the likelihood of being able to alter the momentum is such, that this is not the place for your best effort. And we are never saying that we don't think you should give it everything you've got to provide relief. But what we are saying is, you have to understand the physics of creation. And when you understand the momentum of vibration and the power of relief and the potency of helping someone make peace with where they are first, now you have someone with whom you can influence. And your power of influence is about your power of soothing their angst. Sometimes you meet people who are in a situation of physical anomaly, who are there as a result of years and years and years and years of negative dribble. And the likelihood of them turning their negative dribble into positive dribble is not that great. You could let them move in with you, and you could listen to everything they say, and you could offer them a more positive alternative as you teach them to fork off in a better direction. But there is huge effort. It would require one-on-one training in order to make much headway. You might meet someone who had a traumatic experience. Now, we want to remind you that no one has a traumatic experience that is outside their vibrational calling. And so it's whatever they're living because they've been offering a vibration. But sometimes, for example, in the last century and the earliest part of this century, in the 1900s and 1800s, mostly 1800s and early 1900s, people's vibrational imbalance was mostly due to physical hardship. Just the day-to-day grind of providing food and shelter and dealing with that. Today, the vibrational imbalance is mostly about, with those you are interacting with, interpersonal relationships and attention to world events over which they have no personal power. Most of it brought about by the people they live with and interact with and what they see on television, which they feel powerless about. So what's happening today in your environment is there are many people who are watching something like a catastrophe in New Orleans, or who know of those who focus so intently, powerfully, negatively for a rather short period of time that they tune themselves into a vibration of resistance. And you can create a deadly disease in less than 30 days from scratch. You can create one gradually over a long period of time, or quickly over a short period of time. It's all about your attention to the subject and how you feel about it. So as healers, as you're interacting with someone who has recently been traumatized into strong discord, your likelihood of soothing them back into alignment is much greater than the likelihood of soothing someone back into alignment who has trained themselves negatively there over 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. So what is our point? Our point is, before you decide to get frustrated and count yourself as incapable of being of value, we think it is of value for you to do a better job of assessing what you're dealing with. And then you must decide, how much time do you have to devote? In other words, you really need to pick your practice in terms of the numbers of people that you have time to deal with and what the nature of that interaction will be. If you wanted to, you could assign yourself to one terminally ill person, and you could spend enough time with them over the next weeks and months that you could influence their vibration into a place that they could have healing. And those who witnessed it would call it a miracle. We would call it alignment. We would call it a friend helping with the influence of someone's vibration. But the only reason that it would help enough to bring about healing, and the only reason that it would hold in terms of long-term effect, is because in the process of your interaction, you have taught them these essential things. You, patient of mine, are a vibrational being first and foremost. And you offer a vibration in every moment that you are focused, which means in every moment that you are awake. And the vibration that you offer is setting up a frequency in your body that is affecting everything about your life experience.